All right, today we're going to talk about a really fascinating story. It's about an Indian brand called JumboKing. They basically started on the street and somehow grew big enough to take on the giants of the fast food world. It's an incredible playbook, full of smart strategies and some seriously bold moves.
So, what's the secret sauce here? How does a small, local business selling, a beloved street food even begin to compete with a global monster like McDonald's? It seems impossible, right? Well, let's dive in and find out.
Okay, to really understand how they pulled this off, we have to go back, right back to the beginning. It all started with a really simple idea that honestly solved a super common problem. So picture this. It's 2001. The founder, Dheeraj Gupta, starts JumboKing with just 2 lakh rupees. To put that in perspective, that's less than 3,000 US dollars. He opens one single store in Mumbai, and he's laser-focused on just one thing, the vada pav. And you know what? The model totally worked. They started franchising, and boom, they exploded to over 175 stores in only 15 years. Just incredible.
Now, the genius here wasn't that they invented some revolutionary new food. I mean, the vada pav was already a total icon in Mumbai. Everybody loved it. What JumboKing did was solve the problems with street food. They offered a version that was hygienic, always tasted the same, and was super convenient to grab. That right there, that was the game changer.
And financially, oh man, it worked like a charm. Because they standardized everything and kept their costs way down, they were hitting a 30% net margin on every single unit. Think about that. That incredible profitability became the engine that just fueled their insane growth through franchising.
But here's where the story takes a massive turn. Just when it looked like they had absolutely perfected their business model, they did something nobody saw coming. They decided to pivot. A complete change in direction.
And that, of course, brings up the big question. Why? Why on earth would a company with 175 successful stores, all built on one beloved product, decide to just throw that winning formula away and start over? It sounds crazy, right?
Well, the answer really comes down to the market. See, the vada pav, as popular as it was still seen as a local thing, a street food, and that meant there was a ceiling on how much you could charge for it. The burger, though, that was a whole different ballgame. It had national appeal. It was seen as this aspirational thing, especially for younger folks, and people were totally willing to pay more for it. The potential upside was just way, way bigger.
So, in 2017, they pulled the trigger. That was the year JumboKing officially shifted its entire focus away from its hero product, the vada pav, and went all in on burgers.
And they didn't just jump in. They were super smart and methodical about it. First up, they just started calling their vada pavs burgers. Simple, right? But it totally changed how people saw them. Then, they took some visual cues from McDonald's. The colors, the menu design. They also made a key decision to focus only on vegetarian burgers, which is a huge market in India. And finally, they rebranded as JK Burgers to kind of distance themselves from those old street food roots and build a fresh, new national brand.
Look, a bold pivot is one thing, but actually competing in the burger world, that's another story. You need a really clever marketing strategy, especially when you don't have the kind of money that the global giants are throwing around.
And this quote, this really sums up their whole approach. Instead of burning through millions on big ad campaigns, they just focused on being smarter. They relied on things like customer feedback, word of mouth, and using data to make their decisions. It was all about being strategic.
So let's unpack that playbook a little. First, they use loyalty programs to get direct feedback from their actual customers. Super smart. Second, they kept their menu super simple, just 8 items. This helped keep quality high and costs low. Now this next part is crucial. They didn't try to be McDonald's. They positioned themselves as the safe, hygienic upgrade from the street vendor. And lastly, they set up these small, low-cost kiosks in super high-traffic places like train stations. This kept prices down and made it easy to grab a burger while you're on the move.
But, even with all this clever strategy and amazing growth, the fight is definitely not over. They're staring down some pretty serious challenges.
Okay, first up, you've got the giants. The competition from McDonald's and Burger King is just relentless, so they have to keep innovating to stay relevant. Also, that super efficient limited menu, it can be a double-edged sword. It might turn away customers who want more choices. And finally, there's still the challenge of shaking off that regional reputation to become a truly national brand.
So, after walking through their whole journey, from a single street-side stall to a national burger player, what are the big lessons here? What can we really learn from the JumboKing playbook?
Lesson 1, and this is a big one, solve a real customer problem.
Their first big win wasn't about some flashy new product, it was about something fundamental, giving people a safe, clean, reliable version of a food they already loved. That's where every great business has to start.
All right, lesson number 2. Use data to guide your decisions. These guys weren't just guessing what people wanted. Every move they made, from tweaking their menu to launching a new promo, was backed by data and real customer feedback. They listened, and that's what let them make such smart, effective pivots.
Now this next one, this might be the most important lesson of all. Don't fall in love with your product. Fall in love with what your customer needs. I mean, think about it. They built a 175-store empire selling vada pav, but they were willing to walk away from it the second they realized their customers were moving on to burgers. Their loyalty was to the customer, not the product. That's huge.
And finally, lesson number 4. Smart economics can absolutely beat big budgets. Their story is proof that you don't need a 9-figure bank account to compete. If you focus relentlessly on making each sale profitable, keep your overhead low, and use smart, targeted marketing, that can be way more powerful than just throwing money at ads.
So that leaves us with a really interesting question to think about, right? If you take this JumboKing model, standardize a local favorite, make sure the quality is top-notch, and then make a smart, bold pivot, what other beloved local foods out there, maybe from your own hometown, could be just one pivot away from becoming the next big thing?